afternoon. My name is Darnice Gordon. I remember when I was 7 years old, I walked up on my mom sitting at the dinner table, and she had a long needle with something clear in it, and she would stick it in her skin and inject something in there. And being 7 years old, we were not to question what the adults were doing, so I never said anything, and this seemed to be an everyday process for my mom, and I would always wonder what was going on. This may sound like an addiction to you, but my mom was actually a diabetic, and that's what I'm here today to talk to you about is diabetes. And I myself, I am borderline diabetic. Diabetes is where your body does not produce, where your body does not convert the sugar or the glucose into energy, and our body's main source of fuel is the glucose. The types of diabetes that I'm going to talk to you today is pre-diabetes, type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and gestational diabetes. Now, type 1 diabetes is, or excuse me, let me back up. Pre-diabetes is where someone has a high level of glucose in their blood, but it's still not high enough to be determined that you are a diabetic, and that's what I am. Type 1 diabetes is where your body doesn't produce enough insulin, and insulin is what converts sugar over into energy. It uses the starch and sugars for energy. And this is mainly found in young children and young adults. Now, type 1 diabetes is where you do not have enough insulin in your body, or the cells in your body, they choose to ignore the insulin that is in your body. So it leaves your body, your blood building up with the glucose in your bloodstream, and your body has no way of getting it out of your system. And this is the most common form of diabetes in our nation today. Gestational diabetes is where pregnant women have diabetes. Usually they get tested around the 24th week. I have not gotten tested yet. My next appointment, I go get tested. They test the women for gestational diabetes. Usually it goes away after you give birth. But if it doesn't go away, the doctors usually say that you have already had diabetes before you were even diagnosed. But when you give birth, then the diabetes goes away by itself. But you're still at a higher risk of getting diabetes later on in life. Now I want to talk to you about the symptoms of diabetes. You have frequent urination, unusual thirst, and extreme hunger, extreme weight loss. You have fatigue, irritability. You have frequent infections, blurred vision. You have slow healing cuts or wounds on you that are just taking a long time to heal. Usually you have diabetes. This is the same symptoms for all of them in pre-diabetes, type 1, type 2, and gestational diabetes. And with me having pre-diabetes, I do notice when my blood sugar gets high, I get very thirsty, and it seems like I can't drink enough water. I have a cotton mouth, and that's when I know I have to try to monitor what I'm eating and change what I'm doing. Now, the prevention of diabetes, you have to have a lot of discipline to monitor what you're eating, monitor your sugar levels, your starch levels. You also have to be disciplined in your portion sizes in your meals. You cannot overeat too much, because then your body will not be able to get rid of that glucose in your blood. Watching your portion sizes, limiting your sugars and starches, also drinking a lot of water so it can help flush out all the extra glucose in your system. Exercises help a lot so it can get all the excess sugar out of your system. And also regular checkups with your doctor, especially if you already have these symptoms going on with you, then it's a good idea to go ahead and get yourself checked out at the doctor. Now I have some statistics here from the American Diabetes Association. This is a 2011 statistics. They are certain groups of people who are at higher risk than others for developing diabetes. And 12.6% of the population are blacks that end up with diabetes, and the most common form is usually type 2 diabetes. 11.8 is Hispanics, 8.4% Asian Americans, 7.1% are whites. And then there are 79 million who have pre-diabetes, 18.8 million who are already diagnosed with some form of diabetes, and then there's still already a 7 million who are undiagnosed, which is a pretty high number to be having, so that's pretty scary. So always watch for the signs and symptoms that I spoke about earlier. In conclusion, I'd like to tell you that, recap everything that I discussed, what diabetes is, the types of diabetes that are out there, your symptoms, and possible prevention. Together, we can fight this epidemic, and knowledge is power. And I'd like to thank you for your time.